Welcome to So What's It Actually About? I'm your host, Margie McKechnie, and I, along with my wide array of guests, hope to help you better understand and weather the wonderful world of actuarial science. Hello and welcome to today's episode. We're joined by Sumarie. Thank you so much for being here.
It is an absolute pleasure to be here, Margaret.
Standard question, and to help position the interview, can you tell us about your current role and maybe a little bit of background so that our listeners know who they're talking to?
Okay, cool. So I'm Sumarie Greybe. I'm one of the founders. We're three founders of Naked Insurance. It's an insurtech company. I always say that we are a technology company that happened to be selling insurance, and we started that journey in 2016. And I am, I guess, an actuary by trade.
Yeah. And so tell me, backtracking sort of the whole way to making the decision to do actuarial science, why actuarial science?
It's a good question. So this was I matriculated in 1990, so it's a long time ago. And I always really loved mathematics. My father was a professor in mathematics at Pretoria University. Mm-hmm. And I used to go watch him lecture, and I spent a lot of time at the university. And I wanted to go study pure maths. Okay. So my dad was, that is such a bad idea for you. He believed that my personality type didn't really suit lecturing. In those days, there were not much that you could do other than that if you studied pure maths. And he said I was too impatient. I wasn't compassionate enough. I need to find something else. He thought I should do something that is more business orientated but has a strong mathematical slant to it. Okay. And then Tinkies had just started. When I matriculated, they had their first third years. I remember I met with a guy called Rudy Stoof. He was the first third year that actually finished. And my dad took me to go see Professor George Marks.
Yes.
I went to go study actuarial science. I didn't really know what I was in for, didn't really know what I was going to be doing. My dad actually got offered a bursary to study in the UK when he was very young, but then things kind of happened. My mother felt pregnant. She didn't want to go have a baby in the UK, mm-hmm. and he never went to go do it. So that's why he knew about it. Okay. Because he also considered it himself.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how I got into it.
And having now started studying, what was your experience of that journey? Was it enjoyable? What were the challenges for you? Did you ever think of quitting? What was that whole experience?
Oh, that's a good one. I always tell this story. So in first year was like pretty much as I expected. We didn't do any actual subjects in first year. And then second year kicked off with a bang, and we did, because remember our syllabus was very different in those days. It's similar, but we still studied out of textbooks. And our first subject that we started with was called Mathematics of Finance. Okay. McCutcheon and Scott. So we started with that. And I remember writing my first test, and we were a very small class of people. I think we were at that stage about 18 people.
Sure.
And maybe 18 or 20, because a couple of people dropped off through the year as well. And all of us failed it. And I had the first test that we got. And I had, in my entire life, never failed anything that was mathematically inclined or otherwise inclined. And I told my dad, this was a big mistake. I'm going to change direction. This is not for you. But they deliberately, now in retrospect, I know they deliberately make that first test so hard to make sure that you really want to be there and that you take it seriously. And I remember I went to go see Professor George Marks, and I told him, and I don't even know if he'll remember this, and I told him, listen, I'm actually going to shift. Mm-hmm. I was sitting in his office and I told him, And he told me, he didn't take me as someone who came to varsity to find a husband. So I thought, you bastard. So he pissed me off so much. I'm speaking so badly. He really so upset that, and I think he also deliberately did that I thought, I'll show you. That's not why I'm here. I can finish this. Uh-huh. And that just gave me that push and a determination to then actually carry on with it. And after that, there were good times, there were bad times, but
You had decided that
Yeah, I decided this is what I'm going to do.
Sure.
I'm quite a stubborn person.
Which is very close. Very close. So post sort of the university section of your education, where then did you move into the industry?
So I went for a couple of interviews, and I was lucky enough to actually get offered a position at Swiss Re in Joburg. And I had an offer in Pretoria as well. Mm-hmm. And again, I remember speaking to my dad about it. He told me, no, you need to widen your horizons. You can't just stay in this little Pretoria Afrikaans bubble. Take the job with Swiss Re.
Okay.
And I then took the job with Swiss Re. It was actually in the life valuations department.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yes.
Very traditional.
In those days, there were no short-term people involved in short-term insurance at all.
Sure.
It's not at all. And I was about 18 months into that role. To be very honest, I didn't enjoy it that much.
Okay.
I found it a bit boring.
Uh-huh.
But that was just I struggle to sit still. I think I suffer, even if we're in a meeting, I normally will get up and walk a bit. So it was very hard for me to do that. And then someone walked into the office because the life guys were on the second and third floor, and the short-term guys was on the first floor. Mm-hmm. And one of the short-term guys walked in, and they said, we just had instruction from head office. We need to start an actuarial division on the short-term side. Who wants to come?
Sure.
So I was like, me.
Take me
So myself and a guy with the name of Randy Barnard volunteered to go down to short-term. And my boss that I then reported to was a very, very sweet man with the name of Dave Dixon. He was an English teacher.
Oh, sure.
Yes. He didn't know what to do with us at all. He said, I had to get you guys, but I'm not sure what to do with you. Go find something to do. So that then meant that we actually got involved very widely in the business. Okay. We set up a lot of the pricing capability. We obviously did the IBNR reserving, those kind of things. Yes. But we actually got involved in some of the client management, the treaty negotiations.
Oh, sure.
Because we kind of, they weren't sure what to do with us, so we very often asked, can we just tag along? And right at the end of it, I was looking after treaty underwriting that included actuaries, not actuaries, a bunch of different things. And Rodney he actually ran a portfolio of clients more on the marketing side.
Oh, sure.
And then from there, we did a lot of alternative risk transfer stuff. So it was actually this amazing exposure. And as a result of the fact that we were involved with so many things, we also got to travel a lot.
Oh, lovely.
I traveled every couple of months to different locations because I was the property manager at a certain stage.
Oh, joy.
So I got to travel to Bangkok for things on that. So I traveled to so many places and I met so many people. It was actually really awesome. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I think Rodney would probably say the same. He's now in a very senior position at EY in the UK. I think he's head of financial services for the UK and Ireland.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
And I think it was also very much
off the back of
that direction.
Yeah. And tell me, during that time that you were at Swiss Re, obviously changing your team, is that also when you qualified and finished your board exams?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you find that whole studying, working transition and having to juggle all those things?
I think I always tell the guys, working and studying is hard, and that you have to be super disciplined. I had people that like to have study groups.
Yes.
I didn't. I never enjoyed that. I found it a waste of my time.
Yes.
But different styles. Yeah. So I wanted to optimize the time always that I used to spend studying, and I actually always studied very early in the mornings.
Okay.
So I used to get up at 3, study before work, then go to work, and then if things overran, I felt that was a good balance for me.
Yeah, because you can't really predict the workday, right? And if you're studying in the evening, if things run over, then it's like, okay, I didn't study today.
I know. So you'd rather get that pressure off you, do it in the morning, but people will tell me they're not a morning person. We are quite adaptable as human beings.
Yeah.
You become a morning person.
Do what you need to do. Exactly.
Your body clock changes and it actually works. Yeah. It actually works quite well. And I was very structured always about it. I think if anyone saw what I did, they'd think I was insane. I used to write down every day exactly how much time I studied.
Yes.
I started 12 minutes past this and I finished then. And then I used to have rules about how many hours I effectively had to have done in order to be able to have a good chance of passing. I know this sounds terrible.
No, but it's like your probability of success almost,
Yes,
guys. And
because I wanted to get it over with.
Yeah.
I tell people, get it over with. In the end, I got stuck for about, it was 2 years on communications.
Sure.
Which I never took seriously, and I think that's part of the reason. I took everything else so super seriously, but communications, I was like, I don't have to do
Well, I
anything
studied
with
for this, yeah.
Exactly. To my detriment.
But we started in the end.
Because in my day, you couldn't do communications early, you had to do it with your fellowship. So you did it right at the end.
Okay.
And that then resulted in me dragging for 2 years communication.
Sure.
So my advice is always take every single piece of it
Seriously. And then tell me, what was your next role after Sumarie?
So Stephen Jurish, who gave me my first job at Sumarie, himself and a gentleman with the name of David Jewell started talking about starting their own consultancy.
Okay.
But they didn't, and they thought it was more an idea of having a guru consultancy, so where people hire the specific individual for their knowledge.
Okay.
And they both specialized more on the life insurance side, and they thought it would be a good balance to then also get someone who's short-term insurance specialization. And then I started talking to them, and the three of us thought, oh, this is starting to sound like a good idea.
Yeah.
We actually pulled in Alex,
Yes.
who's with me still today. Actually, I didn't even say that. He worked with me at Sumarie as well.
Okay.
He's just a bit younger than me, and when I moved to short-term, I gave him my analysis of surplus models that to this day he said it's the worst spreadsheets he's ever worked with. But so the bunch of us, including then Andrew Warren, who's at Deloitte these days, and Dominic Lieber, who has chosen a totally different career path these days, then started Quindium consultancy. Yeah.
And how did you find that transition? Did you enjoy it? And then I know that Quindium was bought by EY, is that correct? So you can talk through that kind of pathway.
So interestingly enough, if you work for a reinsurer, there's a big consulting element to it.
Yes.
There's always a consulting element to it. So that transition wasn't that hard. I think we were super naive because we were very young and we were trying to sell to like big corporates and stuff. And as a group of young people going into a board meeting, that's a bit, I think the amount of trust that is needed is not that we expected. But luckily we also had the previous CEO of Sumarie that joined us on the journey, a gentleman with the name of Lance Keel, that then helped us with the marketing, and that went quite well.
And it was like a bit of credibility.
Yeah. He had good market contacts. So I wouldn't say don't start a consultancy if you don't have good market contacts, and you need to make sure that you tick all your boxes on that. It's not as easy as it sounds. We did that for about 11 years, and we were about 25 people at that stage. And really loved it. It was called Quindium because it's bastardized Latin for fifth day. And on the fifth day, we always did research. And the whole principle was that we did things that we felt was meaningful. It wasn't just about the money. We actually we did well, but it wasn't about the money. It was about, very often we would do pro bono work, or we would, if we felt it was meaningful or could help someone or whatnot. And then as part of this journey, we actually also got involved with a profit with a purpose fund called Leapfrog. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
So we helped raise Fund 1 of Leapfrog.
Sure.
And two of our partners at that stage, Dominic Lieber and Doug Lacey, got very involved with Leapfrog.
Okay.
And things just started getting quite complicated.
Okay.
Also, some solvency, the solvency regulations started coming in, and for a board to justify using a small consultancy versus a large consultancy, if a small consultancy makes a mistake, they're going to say,